You could not live with your own failure to learn combo. And where did that bring you? Back to me. It's your boy, Stevie Blunder, and I hate that I'm doing this, but I'm gonna teach you how to play Mekk-Knight Invoked. Let's get normal summoning.
Well, let me introduce you to Invoked.
So, this is not an in-depth deck profile. If you want that, that's going to be in the description down below. This is just a very quick and dirty rundown. Some things might have changed, and I will be sure to explain only those things here. So, for those of you who don't know, Invoked is a normal summon based engine revolving around Alistar, the Invoker, who is able to use his searchable fusion spell, Invocation, in order to go to very powerful fusion monsters in your extra deck based on attributes. We got the Fire, Invoked Poker Trio, who is able to enable OTK lines, Invoked Agoides, who is able to pop monsters on special summon as well as its own summon and boost itself, and Invoked Mekh-Knight, the absolute best one, who is able to act as an Omni Negate if you're able to discard a specific type of card. The recursive loop found within Invocation, adding Alistar back and shuffling itself back into the deck, forms a very, very ad infinitum fusion summon engine that basically will just choke the life out of your opponent if they cannot stop you. Additionally, we're going to be playing this deck blind second, so that's where we're playing these, the Mekk-Knights, which are engines where if our opponent has 2 or more columns in the same column, or we can set up our own with cards like Lynx and back row, we can special summon them and they can add bodies and pop back row or monsters if you really want to play those. And basically this helps enable a very, very powerful blind second OTK strategy that has not only seen success in Master Duel, but a lot of success in TCG as well. Invoked has honestly been one of the stickiest decks in all of human history, and I'm here to teach you how to normal summon Alistar. So let's just get straight into the news. We've got 3 Alistar, the 2 Invocation that is going to be searching. You don't want to play 1, and you don't want to play 3, because 1, if you lose it, you're fucked. 3, it's way too many. As well as the Terraforming and 2 Magical Meltdowns, which search your Alistar. Very, very cool. The only other normal summon we're playing is Sandgan, and this is the card that I recently added. The reason why we are implementing Sandgan is because in the original deck list, I found that I had a lot of issues where I would have a lot of Mekk-Knights and Extenders and blind second tools, but I would have nothing to normal summon. And Sandgan, in my opinion, just kind of is like the best one in this specific list because it's able to search out cards like Maxx C, Effect Veiler, Ash, Alistar the Invoker, of course, because it meets its 1500 or less stat line, as well as a Mekk-Knight Orange Sunset, which allows you to special summon itself from the hand for free, and it does not activate, which is very, very cool. And this will help set up very specific Link 2 lines in case you will ever, you know, sort of need that sort of scenario. Next, we've got the Mekk-Knights, 3 Purple Nightfall, the best one, 2 Blue Sky, 1 Orange Sunset, 1 Yellow Star for back row, and 1 Indigo Eclipse for very specific secret lines and OTKing. Next, we have our hand traps, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Maxx C. This card is very, very stupid. You have to play it. And 1 Nibiru. We play 1 because we can basically draw into it off of our Maxx C, so just pretend these are copies 2 through 4. Next, we have our Neos Fusion Package. This card is very, very goofy. We could summon our Rainbow Neos, which helps us OTK very, very easily by spinning back row and monsters. The Garnets that we are playing, of course, are Elemental Hero Neos and Rainbow Dragon. Rainbow Dragon is a bit better than the Dark one because we could technically Invocation it away for Mekh-Knight, which is very, very cool. We got our blind second tool in Lightning Storm. You can obviously play cards such as Chalice or Forbidden Droplet based on what you're expecting. I just kind of like Lightning Storm as the best generic one. It does have a bit of nombos in clearing your opponent's cards, so you're kind of fucked on columns. But in my opinion, going for like 4 for 1 is always worth it. And just for our consistency, we are playing 3 Pot of Prosperity. Usually you're going to be banishing stuff like the Nightmares or the Hauka Firebrax, Selene Access Code line, but be sure to use some discretion when it comes to what you're banishing and what you're sort of trying to search. Then we have the 1 searchable World Legacy Secret, which is able to act as a sort of skill drain in specific instances where you're going for that sort of play. Extra deck. Invoked Poker Trio, OTK lines, Invoked Agoides, Pop Stuff, Invoked Mekh-Knight, Omni Negate, Rainbow Neos, OTK Enabler, Salamangreat Almirage, which is our normal summon link away to get a Fire into the Grave, and in order to get a 1-card Mekh-Knight, secure Garna, which can be linked out of Almirage. Because it is light, we can go Invocation, banish the Garna from field, and the Alistar from grave to summon a Mekh-Knight. Very, very cool. We're also using Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden, because sometimes we want to be using our Almirage to go into from Sandgan, and obviously Artemis can be summoned into from Alistar the Invoker. So this is just another secure Garna if you want to think of it that way. We're playing Halqifibrax because if we get a tuner and our opponent has a very empty board, we could special summon Halqifibrax, special summon like say a Effect Veiler, go into Selene, revive a Effect Veiler or Alistar, go into an invocation line if we really want to, and then we could go into an Access Code Talker, which is able to target the Selene, become 5300, and basically get at least 2 to 3 pops, which is very, very cool for cleaning up very specific instances. I personally haven't had that much success with it because I basically never go into it because I'm always going into this purple fucker, but again, use discretion when it comes to deck building. This is just a very bare bones list. Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn for clearing back row, the one Verte Anaconda because any 2 monsters equals Rainbow Neos, which is very, very cool, and the one Mekk-Knight of the Morningstar, which is used to help set up columns as well as search our World Legacy secret. This card is very underrated, and if you are able to set the secrets lock with cards like Indigo and multiple Mekk-Knights, you could basically choke the life out of your opponent in that way. I'm also going to be showing you 2 other builds of this deck that you can experiment with, and one of them is this one, True King of all Calamities. This card is the goofiest fucking card I've ever read. Basically, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card and declare an attribute. All face-up monsters on your opponent's field become that attribute, and all monsters in your opponent's possession with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. Call anything your opponent has. They're under Skill Drain, Threatening Roar, and Soul Drain. This card is the stupidest shit I have ever read, and holy hell, this is ultimately one of the greatest payoffs in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Obviously, it does suck to lose the cards like Infinite Impermanence, or Droplet, or Chalice, but if you're able to time this properly, you can just absolutely mollywop opponents and win entire games off of the back of this card. This is very, very stupid. The only changes to the extra deck in order to facilitate the VFD are the additional copy of Invoked Mekaba, because guess what? It's a level 9. 2 level 9s make VFD. As well as the Alistar, the Invoker of Madness. You need this card in order to get the second invocation into hand, as well as to summon the second Mekaba, because we don't really have a reliable way to summon it. Obviously, this combo is pretty high investment, but it's also, you know, very, very goofy. If you're finding that the Neos Fusion package is a bit too expensive for you, because it's 5 ultra rares, you can play this, the Fusion Destiny package, which is a very budget-friendly option, where it only requires rares and supers. Fusion Destiny acts the same as Rainbow Neos, or the Neos Fusion, you get the fucking idea. Basically, you're able to go into Dystopia by sending Dynatag and Celestial. Dystopia on special summon, you target a Destiny hero in your graveyard and ding your opponent for that much. So you're going to be targeting Celestial to ding them for 16. And additionally, Dystopia, if its attack is different than its original attack, say by, you know, Dynatag banishing itself to boost it by 1000, or Alistar, when all else goes wrong, you can target a card face up on the field and pop it. It is really good for just, you know, generic spot removal. And unfortunately, although Fusion Destiny does destroy your Dystopia at the end of the next end phase, you can use Celestial to banish itself and the Dystopia if you have nothing else left in hand in order to draw 2 cards, which is a very, very powerful effect that we see in the TCG in Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer for why that card and engine is so incredibly powerful. Obviously, there's not much change. Basically, you could just swap out the Neos Fusion package for this. So, I'm going to be showing you some of the very, very basic combos that you should very familiarize yourself with when it comes to Invoked. And this is the most standard one on planet Earth. Normal summon Alistar. So we're obviously just going to be normal summoning Alistar. Alistar on summon is going to add an invocation from deck to hand. And we can either go into directly Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden, or Almirage in order to go into Secure Garna. Since these both basically accomplish the same thing, we're just going to be showing you the, whatever it's called line, the Almirage line into Secure Garna. And with just one card, we are able to go into either, with our invocation, a Invoked Purgatrio, because invocation can banish our Almirage, or Invoked Mekaba using the Secure Garna on our board. So, we're just going to banish the Secure Garna and the Alistar from graveyard in order to summon, oh boy, Invoked Mekaba. That's going to summon itself to the field, and Invocation Engrave, because our Alistar is banished, we can activate it. It's going to shuffle itself back to the deck, and we're going to add Alistar back to our hand. So now, basically, with just one card, we have an additional normal summon for our next turn, or we could use it as discard fodder for Mekaba in case we ever want to negate a monster effect as well as either a spell effect or a trap effect if we have those in hand. And Alistar can boost our Mekh-Knight to 3500 if we really wanted to. That's just the first basic combo. Obviously, you can go into Invoked Purgatrio, like I said earlier, but again, this is the very standard line. So this is as basic as a combo can go, and it revolves around Sandgan. We're going to be normal summoning Sandgan, and then we're going to go into Almirage immediately. Obviously, our Sandgan is going to be able to trigger to search, and we can search basically every single card in our deck. We can search an Effect Veiler if we need to, we can search Max C if we want to, another Sandgan, Ash Blossom, Alistar. We can even search Mekk-Knight Orange because it does not cost anything in order to special summon itself. It does not activate is what I meant to say. And if we have a way to set up a column, we can go into that. If we really want to, we can go into a Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star to discard a Mekk-Knight to go into the Secrets line. We can go into a Verite Anaconda in case we just want a raw dog, you know, just a fucking Rainbow Neos, 50 fucking negates. But obviously this is just a very open-ended combo where if you need to search a specific card, you can do it. And if you want to go into a Link 2, you are able to do it. Sandgan just enables a lot of potential plays, while although they may not be like massively impactful, can maybe swing a game in your favor if you need to see specific cards for a specific follow-up. You get that sort of idea. So I'm going to be showing you the true King of all Calamities line. This is a very high investment combo, so obviously don't expect the fucking sun and moon from it every single time. So you are going to need Alistar the Invoker, which we're going to add to hand. We're going to need one free special, so usually a Mekk-Knight, and we're going to need at least one other light and a discard fodder. Remember, this is a very high investment combo. Obviously, this would be a lot easier if we had Link Cross, but unfortunately that was banned. So we're going to normal summon Alistar. We're going to go into specifically Almirage, because unfortunately, in order to go into the Alistar Link monster, we need monster with different attributes. So we're going to go into our Blue Sky, that's going to special summon itself, and because these two guys are different attributes and types, we are able to go into Alistar the Invoker of Madness, who's going to be able to grab our second invocation once everything's said and done. We're going to be using the invocation in order to summon Mekh-Knight. We're going to be using the Alistar and the Mekk-Knight that we sent. Those are going to banish themselves. We're going to summon a face-up attack position. Mekh-Knight doesn't actually really matter the position. Now we are going to trigger the Alistar the Invoker of Madness. So we're going to discard basically whatever in order to add a second invocation from deck to hand, and this is where the second light is relevant. We're going to Invocation Engrave, we're going to add back the Alistar the Invoker, and then we are now going to be able to invoke again, because this card is not once per turn. We're going to be using Alistar the Invoker to go into the second Mekh-Knight by banishing the other, you know, the other light that we had in grave or on field, doesn't really matter. And because we have 2 level 9s, very cool, we're able to overlay them for true King of all Calamities, and we are able to basically just completely shut out our opponent from all fun. Very cool, Kanye. So I'm going to be showing you one of my most favorite combos in the deck. This is the Rainbow Neos OTK line. This is absolutely not E, and all you need is Alistar the Invoker plus any Mekk-Knight. So we're going to be normal summoning Alistar, we're going to be using the effect, and we're going to be adding our invocation hand. Then we're going to go into Artemis the Moon Maiden. Obviously you can go into Almirage, it doesn't really super matter, I just like going into Artemis because it's a light in case all else fails. We're going to be sending our invocation, and we're going to be special summoning our Mekk-Knight Purple Nightfall to the zone in order to get the free special. Next, we're going to be sending both of them to the graveyard in order to summon our Predaplant Verite Anaconda in order to get direct access from our deck for the Neos Fusion line. Now we're going to Invocation, obviously, to summon the Invoked Mekh-Knight, which we are not only using for damage, but we also need it for the protection from hand traps, as well as to get Alistar back into rotation, because the extra 1000 is going to be very relevant. We're going to banish our Invocation, we're going to shuffle it back actually, we're going to add back our banished Alistar to hand, and now finally, we're going to be using our Predaplant Verite Anaconda to send one fusion spell from deck to graveyard. This is going to be our new Neos fusion. We are going to be special summoning the one, the only Rainbow Neos. Obviously, if our opponent has monsters on the board, we could send our Predaplant Verite Anaconda on field to, you know, clear the board, or you could send any other spell or trap, such as an excess Neos fusion, in order to spin their back row. So we're going to be doing that. That's going to shuffle all of that back. And you may notice, wait a minute, even if we didn't send Verte, this is still only 75 total damage. Well, not to worry, because that's why we've got Alistar the Invoker. We're going to be using it to boost one of our fusions, doesn't really matter which, as long as you're remembering to do it on attack deck. And finally, for 2500, Mekaba for game for a flat 8000. Very, very, very nice. So, I'm going to be showing you the Mekk-Knight secrets combo. All you really need is a normal summon, a Mekk-Knight to special, and a card, basically a Mekk-Knight to discard, because we need one. So, we're going to be normal summoning our Maxi. Doesn't really matter which one we really summon, as long as we're able to set up a column. Then we're going to special summon our Almirage. Obviously, Alistar is the best one. And we're going to set one, and we're going to special summon our Blue Sky, because again, we need a Mekk-Knight monster to go into our Morning Star with. So we're gonna send these guys both to the graveyard, and we're gonna special summon our Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star. Morning Star is going to discard a Mekk-Knight in order to search World Legacy Secret, where basically, while it's face up on the field, we can negate any monster effect our opponent tries to activate in the same column as a Mekk-Knight. So let's just see what this looks like in practice. They're going to normal summon a Manju, and we're going to chain a World Legacy Secret. Obviously, if we have an Indigo Eclipse, it's the best one. But let's just say that we only have access to, just any normal one. We're going to bring back on Resolution our Yellow Star. And because on Resolution is in the same column as a Mekk-Knight, it's going to negate the Manju. And this is very, very powerful when you're able to set up multiple Mekk-Knights. You have Indigo shifting columns all the time. Very, very powerful stuff that's able to very slowly squeeze the life out of your opponents. So I'm going to be finally showing you the Halqifibrax Selene Access Code OTK line. Obviously your opponent needs to have taken some damage first, but all you really need is a tuner and a non-tuner to get onto the board, as well as 3 spells in either graveyard or field. So obviously we have that set up, nice and done for us. So we're just going to normal summon, let's say, an Ash Blossom, and we're going to be special summoning our free special in Yellow Star. Next we're going to be going into Crystron Halqifibrax, who specifically is going to be summoning a copy of Effect Veiler from our deck, because we do need a spellcaster to go into Selene. So we're going to special summon our Effect Veiler, and Selene, the Queen of the Magistus. I don't even know what this fucking card says. Anyways, we're going to summon Selene. She's going to gain 3 spell counters, because we have 3 spells in grave, and as a result, we can remove 3 spell counters from her, just one by one, because this game is very goofy like that. And we are going to be able to special summon a Veiler or an Alistar, if we really want to, from our graveyard. Then ultimately, because we have a link 3 and a 1 material, we can link those 2 off to go into Access Code Talker, a very, very powerful boss monster. Access Code is going to be able to gain the attack points of Selene multiplied by her link rating by 3,000. Basically, you guys get the idea. Anyways, we're going to be using Access Code to basically just clear up our opponent's board. We're going to banish a light to pop the Sonic Bird. They cannot even respond to it, because that's just how Access Code Talker works. We're going to be banishing the Crystron Halqifibrax. We're going to pop their set card. It's probably doing nothing. We're going to go to the battle phase, and we're going to be able to swing in for a nice fat 5,300 for a game. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this pretty in-depth combo guide. Again, this deck is a very simple deck. This deck doesn't really have a ton of just ways to build massive board, combo negate, set 5 floodgate pass. It is very much a deck based on fundamentals. It is a deck that forces you to learn, where should I use my Mekaba? Where should I use my one hand trap? Where should I use my VFD? Well, that one's pretty obvious at the start of the fucking turn. Where should I use my Dystopia? These are all plays where you have to, as the player, figure out what your opponent is trying to do from their perspective. That is where Invoked truly shines, and you're able to really show off your skill as a pilot. But yeah, overall, that's going to be the completed deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, catch you guys later. Peace.